This is the most affordable moon phase watch for right around $25 from Casio. While most mechanical moon phase watches usually run in the thousands of dollars, this Casio WS1300H can be had for 1/100th of that price. Right off the bat, you can see that the moon phase is right in the middle of the watch right here. At the time of recording, it does look like a Death Star, but the LCD segment display does change throughout the month. To the left of it is the tide graph, which is handy if you're, as Casio marketing says, into marine sports. The LCD segment display moves around the graph throughout the day. There is an additional moon phase tide mode that comes first when you first use the mode button. Then the stopwatch, timer, alarm, and dual time comes after that. So let's go to the moon phase mode again. In this mode, if you press the search button, you can see all of the tide information for that day, and you can see the segment move. And now let's go back to the timekeeping mode again. If we're going to go back to the moon phase mode again, if you hit the adjust button, you can actually see the moon phase as well. So if you press the adjust button like I did here, it goes into the moon phase button. And if you press the search button here, you can actually see in the future what the moon will look like. You can see that rotate through. So the rest of the screen you've seen already. And now there's a special setup screen where you enter information specific to your location so the watch can calculate all that data we just saw. It is pre-configured for Tokyo, and but you know, depending on where you are, it needs to be set up, and it needs the UTC differential, the longitude of your location, and the something called a lunitidal interval hours. But luckily there is a handy chart in the user's guide that actually has all of these numbers. And to do this, you need to go to the timekeeping mode like we are in now. You hold the adjust button till it beeps, and then you hit adjust. So this will do the regular time adjust in all the other Casio watches. But here, if you press the mode again, you'll actually rotate through all of these numbers. So where I am, it's -8 UTC, and longitude is 122 degrees west. And then the lunitidal interval hour seems to be 4:20, 4 hours and 20 minutes on the chart. So that's what you got here. And then the rest we've already seen. You expect a Casio to have, you have the stopwatch, you have the countdown timer, you have 3 alarms plus the hourly signal, and you can see there's some indication on alarm and so on and so forth up there. And it doesn't have world time, but does keep a dual time zone timer, or dual time if you want to have that. Now, the other thing about this watch you may or may not be able to see is that it is a very, very, very large watch in comparison to other watches I've worn. It's about 2 inches or 51 millimeters tall, and it's about the same, because it's round, it's about the same width at 2 inches or 51 millimeters, and it's also about 1/2 inch thick. And the straps are pretty wide too. It's about 25 millimeter, and it kind of tapers down to about 20.5 millimeters. And for this size, it's pretty lightweight. It's all resin, so except for the steel case back here. And it is at 48 grams or about 1.7 ounces. So it's big, but it's light. And so this watch easily outsizes the G-Shock 5610, the GWM 5610. And you can see it is just a chunkier, larger watch. And let's compare that to the F91W, which will be a big difference here. And you can see, yeah, it's a big difference in terms of size. So got a lot more functions, but it is also just a much larger watch. And speaking of G-Shock, there are a couple very similar looking moon phase G-Shocks around with tide graphs as well, but they look very similar, and they'll have the G-Shock logo up here, but they are about 4 to 6 times the price. So if you're looking for a big watch with moon phase and tide graph, this Casio WS1300 is a great option and the most affordable option by far.